Hello Twitch, hello YouTube, it is I, VannKraken. It is another evening, our evening 3 or 4, I'm losing track of time, I think it's 4, of Aeternum Academy, taking you back to New World, the new PC game we've been streaming, former World of Warships Legend streamer, future World of Warships Legend streamer, but we're doing a little more variety here on the VannKraken gaming channel, and New World is a game I've been playing for 11 months, and I'm really here to bring you tips and tricks to help you maximize your time in playing New World and hopefully do it in an environment that's fun, friendly, and productive, and hopefully respectful of those around us for the most part. I am not a sweaty player. I am not necessarily the best PvP player in the world, but I can get around just about anywhere in Aeternum with my 3 characters, including a pretty advanced level 60. So I can show you a lot of the ropes in this game, and I'm always looking to improve. So PvP will be something we'll be doing on stream as our character here matures. It's a new character. We're level 25 on the Yonas server, which is a fresh start server in New World, which basically means they took all the former progress of a former server and basically threw that away and created some brand new worlds. And you're starting out with no established characters, transferring into this world that's just brand new players, building up a new economy, a new political environment, a new system, building up the cities. That's part of the process in New World. And they didn't wipe the old legacy servers, but this is a unique and different environment that it's a complete fresh start. Everything is new that's in these servers. Nothing old is allowed in from the outside, so to speak. So last stream we finished up joining a faction. The factions are the 3 political groups in Aeternum. There's yellow, green, and purple, which have more backstory and names behind them, which we'll probably discuss as we go along tonight. We completed our faction quests, our initiation quest, so to speak, and joined the purple faction, the Syndicate. I'm pretty boring. I tend to stick to what I feel like is most me. The Syndicate is the faction that is science and exploration based. I'm a former scientist in real life, used to work in the biotech industry as a genetic engineer, so it's pretty close to the home base for me to join the Syndicate. So we stayed Syndicate, we joined a faction after completing the new revamped faction initiation quests in the revised level 1 to 25 experience that they've just re-released with this latest patch and the Fresh Start servers on New World. So what are we going to do tonight? We've got a couple things on the agenda. Because we've successfully joined a faction, we can now engage in the fastest leveling process possible on New World, and that's taking on every kind of quest available to us to get work done as fast as possible and influence our leveling as quickly as possible. So there's 4 options. It's going to include the main story quest, which we've been doing so far, getting us through the story that will take us through the different zones of Aeternum and expose us to the different aspects of the game along the way, like trade skills, the trading posts, different weapon quests, armor, all that good stuff, and the backstory and lore of Aeternum. Secondly, there are side stories, which are just side quests, which will give us additional gold, XP, some rewards like armor and weapons, primarily potions, that sort of thing. Third is town boards, and we've taken basically jobs off the town board that build up the local town that we're in. At this point, we are starting tonight. We're actually standing in the church in Everfall, which we'll revisit in a second. That's a third source of questing that gives us reputation within the territory we're in and some individual XP and gold. And then lastly, we can now do our faction quests, so it adds a whole nother element. They can be PvE or PvP based. And basically, if we take all 4 of these different types of quests together, it's going to speed our leveling as much as possible. So we are standing in the cathedral in Everfall, which is a completely revamped city. The inside of this was not reskinned, but the entire city of Everfall was reskinned for this release, as was Monarch's Bluff, which was our starter zone, starter town. They've gone Dickinsonian, kind of like Dickens Village, Christmas, or industrial, post-industrial age, Dickens Village, or Rise of the Industrial Age, Dickens story architecture, which is fantastic in Everfall. And it's more of an Arthurian castle vibe in Monarch's Bluff these days. So the other aspect of what we're going to be working on tonight is music. We can hear a lot of people in the main cities that are the most populated playing music pretty much continuously now in New World. The music trade skill was added in the summer medley fair. Medley fair hinting a musical theme, but the music mini game or trade skill in essence was a brand new addition that was not announced, and it caught a lot of people by surprise, and it's actually a really fun element of the game that has benefits. So it has social benefits where you can meet and play music with a lot of people that you'll get to know in game, which is really fun, or just random strangers. But the other aspect is you get some unique buffs when you take on the music's trade and put some time into improving in it and hitting different levels. It levels just like the other trades in this game. So we are going to pick up our quest line tonight. Little lag because it's so crowded, guys. 100,000, over 100,000 concurrents during the day today on this game, which is fantastic. And when you're in town with a lot of nameplates showing characters running around, it is going to be your laggiest experience in New World, even if you've got a decent video card and processor. So don't dismay, that usually doesn't happen out in the open world or even in wars or outpost rush these days. The PvP environments or large-scale chest runs or PvE events, typically I don't see a lot of lag. The worst is in the cities, and you'll find that it taxes your system the most when you're in the cities as well. So let's check our journal. I think we picked up our music quest that we're going to pick up on tonight. And then we're going to do some side stories and some faction missions and town boards concurrently if we can. Again, just to try to speed our leveling and see where we can get beyond level 25. All right, let's head up the stairs. See what we can pick up off the town board. It's just Music City here. I guess that's what Detroit is, right? In the US, where I live. Everfall is where they give out the musical quest shades, so there's tons of people playing music in Everfall these days. All right, let's see if we can pick up off the town boards. 2 strong health potions, 3 strong mana potions. So other stuff are kind of more complex or involve running around, but Kelleher Farmstead is nearby. So let's pick that up. See where these head up on the map. Some of the others are fishing related and basically trade skill related. So we're not necessarily going to pick those up right now, but I think Kelleher Farmstead is pretty close to where we're at. Let's pin that. We can pick up these potions anywhere. We already have one of the health potions, and we could probably actually buy these off the trading post and fulfill those pretty quickly as well. Another option. Whoops. Back to the journal. We did pin this quest here, Kelleher Farmstead. That should be blue on our map. I'm not seeing it pop initially. I thought, oh, that's Olcott that's here. Well, we'll look as we're running around tonight. See if that pops up nearby. We'll keep it pinned so it shows up. And then our couple main story quests, Old Stone Remembers is going to pick back up on our quest with actually progressing through the lore of the game and learning about what our special purpose is in Aeternum with regard to combating the dark and evil force of the corruption and the voice of Isabella that we've been hearing in the last couple streams. We should have the side quest picked up for, yeah, we do right here, for music, which is the Magnum Opus. All right. So we've got a couple side quests here. Find First with Fine Folk and Hope in a Bottle. Those are 2 side quests. We've got a Townboard quest. We've got the Magnum Opus. Let's go in town here and do a little bit of our music quest because we'll clear some of that before we pick up something off the faction board and see if we can head out into town with the faction quest. We're going to go ahead and turn the game or the stream music off and just listen to the game for a bit because there's a lot of stuff going on. Too many confusing beats going on at once. All right. Go to our map and zoom in. First part of our music quest, Magnum Opus, right here, number 3. It's It's going to involve running around to specific individuals in town here, mainly, back and forth. And we do have to start inside the building. It's here. Start by picking up a guitar. This quest has been given us to this gentleman here, who basically is a house staff working for one of the local nobles, but he wants to improve his status of who he's working for, and he hopes to do that through the means of sharing some music that he's written. So this quest is basically going to help us get around the town here of Oxborough, as it's been renamed, pick up some different instruments, and get exposed to the music trade. We're going to borrow another instrument from this gentleman, who's our local magistrate. He carries something called the Azoth flute, so that's the first musical instrument that we get. The flute can only be played solo, not in a group. Let's see if he gave that to us. It's in our inventory. Okay. As we go along, these instruments will land in our quest items, and then we can actually equip them on our hotbar. Oh, once we actually get the physical. These are just quest items. They're not physical instruments yet. All right, so where's number 3 leading us now? It's going to take us upstairs. And into the local government office. Territory Planning Board. It will be the kind of command center for any company that owns this territory. Tells you what upgrades they're working on. You can actually look at their tax revenue, all that kind of stuff. All the numbers behind running the town and directives behind growing the town, essentially. Okay, and here we're going to pick up our string bass. So there's more kind of do quests where you run around to different areas than there used to be in the old questing system. It used to be pretty back and forth, coming back to the same person over and over. Now it's a little less linear or hub and spoke that way, and there's just more variety in your activities and what you get exposed to along the way of fulfilling your quest objectives. All right, let's head upstairs. Oh, another instrument to pick up. We have mandolin. And now we get to go back out. Nice chair hop. Follow quest marker on our compass and can go back into the building where our original quest giver is at. And we're just going to demonstrate playing a few of the instruments. Let's just give you a sense of how they sound. You're not actually playing the mini game itself at this point. This gives you a little taste of what instrument's about, what each instrument is about. We're so good we can play with a solid mask on our helm. We don't need vision. All by feel. What's even better is we can clip this flute right through our mask, right? Back to the quest giver. He's going to let us hang on to this flute for a little bit while we do a favor for him. Now he wants us to take this song around that he's written and play it for different dignitaries in town. Thinks if he gets to be a great composer, then he'll get a better standing in town, better gig. Composer Marseille. Okay, so we're going to get Dear Winds of Autumn multiple times now because we get to run around and play it for different folks. Let's see. Go to number 5 now. Oh, okay. I think we just practice it now. So we need to find our own spot to play. So when you set up a music zone, you can't be adjacent to another music zone, or it'll tell you you're too close to another area where someone is playing music. And it's really quickly, if we just highlight these things here, what we're going to do is essentially pick up F5 to open our music. Oh, and we have to equip the musical instruments first to do that. Let's just go ahead and go through this really quick, and then we'll go into the actual performance. So we're going to unlock the musical sheets or sheet music. Then we'll have to actually equip instruments. That's what we've probably skipped. We'll use one of the 5 instrument types, and then we'll use F5 to choose our difficulty, our song, a buff that we'll talk about in a bit. You can actually get buffs while you're playing music. And then whether we choose to play solo or in a group. So let's go back to our gameplay screen and go to our inventory. He loaned us a flute. So now the quest items have disappeared, and hopefully we have a flute in our inventory. I don't see it yet. Where did he put it? Oh, we have to open this chest. Here we go. Thought it just dropped into your inventory. So click on that chest to open it. Now we can actually drag the physical instrument item and equip it. And we can click on these different sheets to learn different musical pieces. Okay. So once we've equipped an instrument and learned a piece of music, then we can hit F5 to start a performance. So the song selection, the yellow gold selector is what we're going to hit R, and then we are going to basically go through this little checklist. We're going to pick a level. So we'll just keep it on novice right now. It's going to be the easiest to play. Anything that's lit up are basically songs that we have music already in our possession. So before you get to this point of this part of your quest chain around level 20 to 25, you're already going to be picking up musical sheets in the environment. So we already have some different things on our person, different songs we've accumulated. So that's what you're seeing here. It's not just Winds of Autumn that's lit up. It's any piece of music that we've learned. But he wants us to practice this one. So we're going to click on that song, and we're going to click on the specific instrument that we want to play, and then we are going to ready up. So now to start, we're just going to go ahead and hit the E key. And then the way the mode works is it's very similar to Guitar Hero, but a little bit stripped down. I'm sure it's not as difficult, but it gets a little more challenging based on the difficulty level that you select. Takes a little concentration. This is on novice, so it's not too bad. Just hitting the keys that match up and with the timing. So they come across your left bar there. W, A, S, and D. So W, A, S, and D are going to be most of your basic songs. The other thing is you're going to have to use is the space bar, and you're going to have to hit both mouse buttons at the same time when you see kind of a left and right mouse button symbol. So we can stand here until our tip timer counts all the way down. And why does that matter? Well, you see Lux Labor up above there. Gathering yield increased for 10% by 10% for 60 minutes. If someone were to tip me during that performance, they would actually get that tip of that buff. So if they tip 10 gold, they'll have that Fortune's Favor buff and increase in gathering speed for an hour. So we're going to go ahead and F5 out. That hopefully was what we needed to do. Yep, our quest 5 has moved on to its next step. So what does this mean from a buff perspective, just in a little more detail, just to give you a sense of the other things that you can unlock. So let's take a closer look at that. If we go into our trade skills menu and just click on music, at level 2, you get decidedly dexterous, which is going to increase your gathering speed. Territorial Triumph unlocks at 5. It increases your territory standing bonus at a quicker rate. Altogether now is a group sharing bonus. So if anyone plays this, the other members in your group takes this by tipping, they'll all have a buff where anyone in the group accumulating XP gives them XP, which is how group XP works, but they'll get a higher rate with the Altogether Now buff. Song in Your Step reduces your encumbrance. So you used to have to make potions, you still can, that give you a buff to your carrying capacity, but this is an alternate way to get around that. So if you're out gathering ore or something heavy, you can actually carry a big chunk more of weight by playing Song in Your Step. Usually lasts for a good amount of time. I think 42 minutes to an hour, so it can get you back to town before your buff runs out. Fortune's Favor increases yield when you're gathering. So if you don't have a ton of time and you want to maximize your time, when you're harvesting something like high tier metals, woods, what have you, this will accumulate them at a higher rate when you have this buff active. And then Lux Labor increases your luck when gathering. And that works on chests and other drops in my personal experience. So you get that at 150 level, music levels to 200, just like the other trade skills. And it levels a lot faster now than it used to, but they haven't given us a buff at 200, unfortunately. Hopefully it's going to be some PvP related buff or something quite strong for rewarding you for going all the way to 200 at some point. All right, we practiced this song. Now we're basically just going to run around and perform this for different folks. So we have to stand on the mark. Whoops. And we're going to play Winds of Autumn for these different folks around the town. It's a little repetitive, but it's cute, I guess. Why is it not registering here? All right, there we go. Click and hold on the E. There's no way to click through this, just let it play through. And we have to head to where the next number 5 is. We have to talk to him, tell him who the composer is, Marcius. Now it'll pick up the next person we need to go play for, who's upstairs. Find your mark. Whoops. Gotta illuminate the E key. There you go. So when the music trade skill first came out, it was pretty crazy because whenever you played anywhere in town, you'd get a ton of people dancing, tipping. It's worn off a little bit in novelty, but still the main cities like Everfall, Windsward, they actually get quite active with regard to the music scene, especially on the afternoons or evenings, especially on the weekends. Come on. Little buggy, it won't let us talk to him. Let's cruise around a bit for a second, get out of range and come back. There we go. Name dropping again. Whoops. Oh, have to go inside. Yes, it was. You're going to hear it again. So anyway, it used to be really fun when it first came out as far as a trade skill. Now we've got a big influx of new players. So there's been a lot of fun times with music in the game. Hey, Boats, how's it going? Sorry you got lost within the listing of the music tracks. Can't stop playing this, just the game in general. It's been treating you well. I can pretty much say I've been playing this continuously for about 11 months. So I feel ya. And there's a lot more to the game now than there was. So to tip, if someone's performing, it used to be the E key. So if someone was standing next to their locker or something, E obviously is the main action key. So a lot of people are tipping by mistake. So now if you're in that lit up musical circle where people are performing and the tip radius is active on your screen at the end, you'll basically be able to hit the T key in order to tip. We'll F5 out of this performance, just F5 and hold down. Level 31 in 3 days. Obsessed. Awesome. Well, you said you like MMOs, and I know this is the first true MMO I've played outside of just single-player RPGs, but I find it really fun. And the fact that they're really working hard on improving the game, and we've seen so many improvements already. I mean, a year ago, it was just a stability and bug fest. So they've come so far in making the game A, playable, and then B, on top of it, trying to add a lot of new content in. There's a new roadmap coming out really soon before the end of the year with what the concrete plans are for next year with regard to content. Okay, we have one more time, I think, here on the bearskin rug. It's funny, no one really plays in the taverns. Sometimes I'll come in and play in the tavern, or especially in the church, because the indoor acoustics are fantastic. We'll go play a song in the church just to show you what it sounds like. It's pretty amazing. If you haven't played an MMO in forever, it's well done. Yeah, I think the graphics are really well done. I think the sound is amazing. The music is great. The storyline was always there. It just wasn't presented a way that people would really be invested in reading through it. Now there's other ways they're exposed to it through the cutscenes and the voiceovers of Isabella, who's trying to basically whisper in your ear like the dark side of the Force for these first 25 levels. And they did provide a lot more variety in these towns. This town again and Monarchs were completely reskinned. So done a really good job. The artwork is pretty exceptional, I think. Okay, so what did we do? Okay. Now got to find Atticus. We've done all the playing of his tune. We're back to talk to him again, aka Marcius. He's just a simple butler. Okay, so we're going to complete the quest. That's going to give us now a guitarist cache. So now she's upset that her boss found out he was basically trying to take on a side job. So we've got to do some work for him to try to get him a better gig than what he's got now. But what we can do is open up our guitarist cache here. So as we open each of these caches, it's going to give us the instrument and a piece of music. So now we've equipped our flute. We can equip our guitar. And hover over your piece of music. If you haven't learned it yet, if it's not already in your songbook, so to speak, you're going to want to click on it and then just click Learn. This guy we've already learned. And then we have a recipe we can learn. So let's get that open. Recipes for foods that help your attributes or your trade skills. will show up here, as well as furniture recipes as well. And sometimes there's some patterns for weapons and armor that will show up here also. All right. I'm not going to throw this music on the ground, and I'll tell you why. There's going to be a number of songs where you're pretty sure you've already learned it, you've got an extra copy, and you think it's not worth a lot, but I always check all my music back at the trading post to see what it's listed for, because there are some songs that literally go for 100,000 coin on the trading post. I believe I found one last night playing this character just to do a little wood chopping, which I said I do in between streams. Did a little bit of leveling a trade skill. So if we go into the buy screen on the trading post, actually let's do this. Let's first look at the piece that we're holding. My new home. If we go into the screen and click place sell order, it'll tell us what people are currently selling the song for. So the cheapies are going to be selling for anywhere between 25 cents. I don't even know why people bother to list it, and a couple bucks. So I'm not going to hang on to this one because the cost of listing it really exceeds the value of listing it in the first place. But there are going to be other songs that will literally floor you with regard to how much they're worth. So if we go into the buy side, you click here under consumables, down at the bottom is music sheets. So you can search here by instrument. And I found Moonlit Shadows, 2,100 coin. This used to go for 100,000 coin in the old days on the Summer Medley Fair event, because this hardly ever dropped. It only drops at dawn and dusk out of chests throughout the world, but at a low drop rate. So I was really, really stoked when I got it the other night, because I've opened a lot of chests specifically, grab one at dusk and dawn just to see if I could get Moonlit Shadows. So I've actually never been able to play it. So I was really excited to get it, because it only drops at certain times a day. Other ones only drop in certain areas or from certain mobs. It's thematic. You're seeing ones now that you receive when you're mining ore or chopping certain kinds of wood. So they're doing a good job of connecting the music to your actions in Aeternum, which is pretty damn fun. Okay. What was the follow-up portion of the music quest here now? This guy. It's who you know. Number 3. Okay, I thought it was here. Again, we're going around town just trying to help our buddy get a better gig. So they're just going to have us run around town in this quest. You don't really have to go far and wide on this instrument quest. Before you know it, you'll have all the different instruments available. Some maid who works with the butler, who's the composer. We're doing a little errand for her. She's requiring a little bribe to give us some information on their joint employer. Helping complete some of her housework. And then I think we have to run around here. Right turn at this last street. Nope, there's a lore page to pick up on the Marauders. Let's go ahead and grab those while we're here. We're going to get XP every time we grab any of those glowing pages. We'll go into a lot more detail on these crafting stations as time goes on. For now, let's just stay on our quest. We're to repair a pocket watch for her, get the laundry, and now it's pick up some mail. So here's the mail back here. This is already done. There's just a lot more variety. It's kind of fun, especially if you're new to Aeternum. And we're heading back here to the pub. On the back side of the pub. And we've got to drop the parcel. Dead dropping the parcel. Sounds like a spy movie, eh? And then back to the same person. Tell her we got all our work for the day done. Okay. Back to Atticus. We're getting him an in here. Gave us the basis case and mandolin case. So Lord Shen is who he wants to go to work for. Let's go and just open this cache. There goes our bass and our mandolin. That was new. Looks like that was new. This one we know was not worth a lot of money when we checked at the trading post. So we're going to go ahead and just discard that guy. Make sure you don't drop your instruments on the ground. And just like any weapons or armor, once you equip these, they're going to be bound to you. But you don't want to salvage these when you want to move up. You'll see they have a level on them. They start at level 2 or tier 2, go all the way to tier 5. And you see the perks there, like Ensemble and Fanfare. Ensemble, playing in a group rewards a 10% bonus XP. Fanfare, hitting a perfect final note gives you a 10% music XP buff. The higher tier instruments have more perks. I think it's 3 or possibly 4. And you make those through the furnishing trade skill. So you have to use the lower tier instrument along with some other materials to make the higher tier instrument. So if you think you're going to craft furnishing at all, which is easier to level now along with all the other trade skills, do not discard those instruments because you will need them to make your next level instruments. Now I think we have to run and find Lord Shen. There they are. Fancy armor. All right, we need to do something to convince this other character around town to release our friend, our new friend Atticus. There's a music zone that's lighting up. And within that music zone is where you're able to give a tip, like Boats is asking. All right, well, let's see if there's any way to convince her to part with her servant. What's he going to offer? Guess the price was high enough. All right, we bought off the current employer. Bought her off with some property. All right, it's kind of fun. It's just running back and forth, but it's kind of fun. And that gives us our last last cache. So it's going to be the drums and some drum music. All right, Dear Mr. Harrison. That's one of the cool group songs. All right, so we can go ahead and lock these. I'm just going to hold down the L key, click on them so we don't discard them by accident when we're doing our upgrades. And let's see what we have to do now. Or maybe that was it. That might be the conclusion of that question because it gives us all of our instruments. All right, so let's do a couple things. We're going to go and find our faction representative who's actually here. So when we open the map, you'll be able to see the faction representative for your specific faction by finding their symbol. So you have the Marauders guy here, the Syndicate guy here. And where's the Covenant? Oh, Covenant is usually, well, they're pretty much always inside the church because they're the Templar type faction. So you need to go to your specific faction vendor once you've joined the faction and hit talk. This is the first time we've actually talked to them since we joined. So this is the faction board. So the layout of this is, in the first level is our quests. So PvE and PvP quests. And then our level of standing, of reputation within our faction. So this is a similar setup to all the events, like the summer event that just happened, the Halloween event that just happened. You're going to accumulate reputation, which is going to unlock different consumables and items. And also, in this case, it's standing, that each of these points, you'll be able to try to complete a trial to get access to higher goods from your faction vendor. So the other thing we can do is pick up missions. So now that we're, I believe, over level 17, which is the time that we can be assigned a faction, we can also pick up PvP missions. That's basically open world PvP. So we'll have to either go capture a war camp, gather intel, which is just basically opening a box and potentially delivering some intel from box to box. And then stabilized PvP is go to an area and hang out there for a specific amount of time. Lock that area down for our quest, and then come back here and turn these quests into the faction vendor. So you have to make it to that quest and back without fast traveling and flagged, which we'll show at some point in the near future within the next couple streams, or when we go and show PvP open world play. At our level, at 25, if any 60 sees us, they're basically going to gank us immediately. So we won't flag up quite yet. But you'll basically need to run out, do an objective, and come back without using fast travel and without dying to get credit. And in a PvE perspective, we can accept any of these PvP missions. And as we're out in the open world, now we have 3 more missions that stack with our Townboard, side quests, and main story quests to gather more XP. In this case, you'll see 640 XP, 740, 470. So a good chunk of XP, as well as some coin. Reputation, this bar here, unlocking the levels of our faction. And then also tokens. And tokens allow us to buy rewards. So we got 1,500 just for showing up, so to speak, for choosing our faction. And we can spend those tokens and some gold to unlock weapons and armor in 4 different levels, essentially. And something really cool called gypsum orbs, which will matter a lot when we get to level 60 and work on something called the expertise system to level up our weapons from 500 to 625. It's the kind of end game leveling process of New World. So, all right. We've taken 3 faction missions. Now when we look in our journal, it's filling up. We've got blue missions. We've got faction missions. We've got our main story quest and our side stories. So we can pin or unpin these. It's just we're going to have to manage and remember what we're working on because it's only going to list up to 6 items here on our heads-up display, so to speak. So before we leave town, to head out on our main quest and then basically do any of these side stories that pop up along the way. Here's our main quest. Here's a furniture-related quest, skill progression quest from Giacomo, who gave us a furniture-related quest about buying a home outside of Monarch's Bluff when we started coming over to Windsward. We're going to have to actually go back into Monarch's Bluff for this quest, so we're not going to be able to do as much multitasking until we complete this next main story quest. After that, we're going to see that Yonas is going to wander back into Everfall, and we'll be able to complete some of the side story quest after completing this one. So let's go ahead and get ready to head out of town. We'll put our game music back on for a sec, but it's actually not our game music, it's our stream music. Oh crap. Sorry, I don't know when I muted myself. Damn it. Thank you, Probably Coughed. Thanks for telling me about that. That song is new. It's a new batch that came out in the post the summer medley fair. It just came out with this new fresh server release. Again, about 15 new pieces of music, which was pretty cool. All right, now that we've unlocked level 4, whoops, we're going to do this guy again. Already dorked it. Takes a little concentration. All right, what are you up to, Matt? Hope you're having a good night. So when you only have one buff that you can unlock, it's going to default to that, which is Territorial Triumph. So we did great. We didn't do the highest level, which would have given us a little bit more of a buff level. But essentially we got, I think, a 6 or 7% buff on territory experience now for the next hour. So you'll see that buff active over our bars down here on the bottom. 75% base. Oh, it's gathering speed. Okay, we don't have Territorial Triumph yet. Let's double check that. Yeah, that's the next one that unlocks at level 5. So if we play again one last time, we should now be able to choose between 2 buffs. Why is it not letting us? Oh, down here, once you've selected a song. Now we can pick Territorial Triumph or Decidedly Dexterous. We're going to pick Territorial Triumph because we want to level faster in the territories that we're working in, which will mostly be Everfall and Monarch's Bluff. So let's do this one last time. This will switch up our buff from Gathering to Territory Experience. All right, it'll be great again, not perfect because we missed a note. Get more fanfare when you do it perfect. Morning and not long, woke up. Opposite end of the scale for me. Still have to stream on a little bit of a later schedule than I'd probably prefer if I had a better availability during daytime. Well, hope you're off to a good start and a good day. Okay, we're going to just head to our quest. We do a little gathering on the side in between streams. So we need to come down here to quest marker 1. So we'll just head for that on the compass. If you head cross country, you're going to see more resources and potentially some critters to pick up, some enemies to kill. Let's grab some hemp along the way. And basically every time now that we gather or we take out an enemy or we complete a mission, it's going to give us an additional buff. It's having brew before you put ships on a grind. For the British ships, which lines are you grinding out? I did a download of the World of Warships Legends update about 3 weeks ago, and it literally took a couple hours to download. It had been so long since I was in. So I think this time there was just an update today, right? Or this week. I'll be able to get through a lot quicker on this next update. For wolf follows, we'll go ahead and take him out, skin him, get some skinning and tracking experience. All right, we can head around the corner here, up the side of this rock. And then up the hill here. All right. If we have weapon drawn, you can usually hold down your right mouse button and then hit spacebar, or hit auto run, which is the equal sign. I have it mapped to my mouse. And that'll allow you to grab and climb up rocky surfaces that look like they have a handhold in the rock. A little quicker than running all the way around. Always have to grab iron for running by some higher tier metals. Let's grab that stuff. Level 42 in mining, we want to get to 50, and then ultimately 100 as quickly as we can to start mining some of the cooler stuff that we'll run across. Start out just basically being able to do iron and basic stone. Hello, Mr. Skeleton. Skeletons are called Ancient Guardians. Lightning is the only one you need to finish, so you're working on British destroyers. 75 million silver. That becomes the issue, right? You unlock some cool ships, then you got to grind out all that silver. That was always my issue. All right, we're just going to basically head to the different quest markers. Yonas, who is a sage gentleman who seems like a simple fisherman, we've been sent on this errand to learn more about how we might be able to potentially combat the corruption that's a building force here in Aeternum. He wants us to do that by revealing some stone inscriptions. So there's various finds. Not everyone has the exact objective we're looking for. Okay, back up the hill. We kind of started in the opposite order. So we talked about moats. You unlock moats by mining and harvesting some special materials. That's at level 50. So that's one reason we want to get our mining up to 50, so we can harvest these rock-based moats, which can go into magical reagents. They go into weaponsmithing and armoring. Basically a base material you use in a lot of crafting. No E lights up when we get to that objective. We have to hack at it, not just hit the E action key. Aha, now we've uncovered some runes. So we want to read those. So we're looking for 4 of these inscriptions. If the corruption is the dark side of the force here in Aeternum, the Soul Wardens are kind of like the Jedi of old, but similar to the Jedi, they've been missing in action for a number of years. So we'll be learning more about the Soul Wardens as we go along in these early quests with Yonas. The namesake of our server. Of course, it'd be too easy if every inscription or every set of vines had the inscriptions we were looking for. Do more work than that. Okay, nothing there. Defenders of the Light. Counter to Darkness are the Soul Wardens. Silkweed is a component in high-level weaving that you combine with the hemp fibers that we can already harvest. Fortunately, those are level 100 harvesting. We're not quite close to that yet. And then Weirdwood, the awesome-looking blue trees, are also 100 level logging. Gonna combine those with regular green wood and aged wood, making lumber. You'll combine that with Weirdwood to make Weirdwood planks. And we've caught up with Yonas again. This questline just gives me serious Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker cave vibes. Alright. I can't remember if we have to kill that bear or just go in here and retrieve some scraps. Looks like it's just grab the scraps. Gold and silver are higher tier metals we can mine, but we've got to be at least 45, I think it said. Alright, so maybe a garment worn by the Soul Wardens, potentially. One of the Soul Wardens. So we continue to follow the main quest trail. Quest marker number 1. I think these are the steps of Alioth. This is a pretty cool area. Again, we'll run into more of these Ancient Garden skeletons along the way. Dispatch them with either our greatsword or our spear, which are our two main weapons we're leveling right now. So we talked more about PvP leveling and basics of combat in the last stream. Go back and catch the VOD of that. There's lots of viable weapon combos for doing your initial solo PvE leveling. Greatsword is turning out to be a great one. On these Fresh Start servers, we're getting a lot of players who are basically questing along with us. So some of these objectives are going to be a little bit easier. Hey, boy. Good morning to you. Yeah, not so much a good weekend for my Chelsea fan daughter. It is true. It was too early. I didn't watch it, but I heard it was pretty ugly. I think they had a very minimal number of chances, right? How did Newcastle do? I didn't catch much of what went on. I think they played on Sunday, right? Yeah, she was pretty bummed. We're getting pretty close to the World Cup now. So at least they can lick their wounds for a while. We're still pretty low level, so I'm not pulling a lot of these enemies together as much as I will later when we power up a little bit more. Again, that's a right mouse click to jump up those steeper rock faces. 1-4-1. Almiron scored again. Holy moly. What is that, 8 goals? 8 and 10, something like that. Seems like it just took him a little while to settle in. Something clicked, huh? All right, I think we go across this bridge. How many points do we have on our weapons? We're let's get this first. I don't think we're up much more than level 7 or so. It's going to be probably level 10 to 12 before this greatsword really starts feeling awesome. It's already powerful, but it's going to be better and better as we accumulate more skill points. Let's pick this up. There's a couple cool songs you can collect in this area that drop from the mobs and from the chests here. Those guys are pretty insane. They skate around, slice you. Okay, a lot of fellow questers in this area. Grief, we're stuck in the rock. All right. Let's read this guy. There's lots of talk of sacrifice with these soul wardens. Again, it's not really known if there's any even left around. Your boy says there's a midweek of fixtures as well as the weekend. Okay, so it's one more week. That's right. Chelsea does play Newcastle. I don't think they can expect a whole lot more at this point based on how it's going, but I think they've got a bit of a rebuild on their hands, honestly. I know there's some players that potentially want out, including my guy, Christian Pulisic. New coach, I like Graham Potter. I think he's a good coach, and it's nice to see an Englishman coaching a Premier League squad. Shocking to me how few there are or have been. So that's really cool. So I wish him a lot of success. And he's had a decent start. It's just some key injuries. Now you've got Chilwell and Reece James hurt, which doesn't help. So Yonas will basically move to a new spot each time we complete each phase of his quest line. He stood in one place for a lot of levels in the old version of this quest line. It's a lot better. It's a lot less running and teleporting. He hears his own voice in chorus with the ghosts here. So all the soul wardens have been taken. He's having some strange memories. All right, so we've been hearing this crazy voiceover since we landed on the beach. Basically, a siren's call to join what seems to be an evil cause. So Yonas, representing the light side of this argument, says that potentially joining these soul wardens we've just learned about might allow us to counter the voice we're hearing in our head. So good news is we're going to be back in Everfall now. So we'll be in the neighborhood of our side quests here and some of our Townboard quests. Let's try to remind ourselves what we were working on Townboard wise. Kelleher Farmstead. We can go ahead and pin that. We need to hunt a leaden bear. Or go to Meadow Lake Fishery. So our faction quests are way over here, which we could get to with a fast travel. But we may be going around different areas. We'll have to see. But we could at least jump and complete a few things from the fast travel, then hop back on the fast travel. So we'll just go ahead right now and keep up with the main story quest. Our 3 faction quests are looking like they're kind of spread out. But questing usually takes you around to the different parts and points of interest in a territory. So just keep them posted, and then when you get nearby, you can go and knock them out. Or again, you can usually find a teleport. In this case, we have a teleport near these, at least this one, very close, that we already have lit up, so to speak, so we can travel to that whenever we want, when we're on another teleport or in a city. Grab the soul sprout. Soul sprout is harder to find in a lot of the territories later on, so I'm going to grab whichever ones I can. The soul motes. Alright, that little boot symbol that comes up, just a reminder, that means we're running at a higher speed when we're on the roads. We can't really scale that rock face, so we need to make a little turn. And now we can curve up and around to our left and be on that point of interest. POI's points of interest are the different structures, little towns, farms, tombs, everything you run across in the open world. All right, Tomb of the Old Warrior. So we're just going to farm up some of these enemies. It's going to really help with weapon XP. And they're part of our quest. They have the yellow symbol over their head. So we need to kill 8 of these Temple Guardians. Do not worry about jumping off high heights in Aeternum. You'll rarely, if ever, die. You can lose a good chunk of your health, but you can fall from the highest height and not die. Just going to cycle through our various abilities on these guys. We're quite over their level, so not going to be too hard to dispatch. 3 more. I don't know if we have to kill all of them before we can go in. There's probably more on the inside. All right. Got some kind of little mini boss guys. These are the Reavers. Again, they look like they're on ice skates. Dual blades. Pretty badass, actually. So there's a lot of mythical lore they're tying into on Aeternum now. Go continue working our way up. Begin the trial, but we don't see if the we need to kill one more guy. I think this is a little wave test. To pass this trial to get inside. Here they come. Oops, don't want to touch those beams. The lasers. Eat a little bit of food, it gives you a quick buff, and then gives you kind of a duration of time buff. These guys with the shields, the Taskmasters, are a lot more difficult to take down when you're solo. They're trying to bait you into jumping into these lasers. Which I tend to jump around quite a bit when I'm especially using Sword and Shield and Greatsword. And Spear. So you have to be careful where you're using your abilities. Defeat the remnants. I hope this isn't buggy because there's only one person that's supposed to be in here at a time. Or he's respawning on a timer. Okay, here he is. Just gonna try not to be behind him as much as possible. Or be behind him as much as possible, not stand in front of him. Not too challenging when there's two of us in here. All right, we can jet out. Again, don't worry about falling. Nope, we don't want to go up, I don't think. Out to the left. All right, so now we just want to find where Yonas has moved on to. If I'm solo and just want to do weapon experience grinding, some of these areas are pretty good. So take out as many enemies as you want, level up your weapons. Though there are some better areas that have a higher density of mobs and sometimes higher hit point mobs, which will give you more XP. Grace sometimes is silent. We thought we were going to find Yonas, and we found Grace instead. Giving us a quest for some fisherman's boots. Those are trade skill wear, basically. You wear those boots, it gives you higher fishing luck. All right. Let's check our journal. Rumor has it. Main story quest. Okay. Looks like we need to go back to the main town, enter Oxborough, and talk to Yonas. Yeah, he's in the city. And then I think the next questing area is going to be closer out to this other stuff that we've highlighted. So maybe we can do a little bit more multitasking. No Yonas yet. Pick up his trail. Speak to the butler. We do know the butler. Hey, we helped you out. Help us out. Guard Captain Dubois up the stairs. Got him a better job. Least he could do is actually tell us where Yonas is, but I guess he doesn't know him. Hey, General. Team and your daughter follow win yesterday. No, your boy was talking earlier up in the chat. They lost 1-0. Had a pretty weak showing. So not a great weekend for them. How are you tonight? What are you up to? All right, so the captain of the guard knows Yonas. So he's basically just reminding us what we've already talked about, that we can pick up quests here off the town boards. And we're going to run by a bunch of wolves, so let's just grab a couple more of these. There's no limit. And rabbits as well. We'll see a bunch of rabbits in this area, so we're going to get some of these quests knocked out. Just based on how many we're taking. We've already been to the syndicate representative, so we have those missions already. All right. And Yonas, rumor has it, level 17, Everfall. Where are you at? Okay, he's right. No, that's a side quest. Go back into the journal and say, show us on the map. He's right here. Okay, so we'll click on that. And we can fast travel to this point, so we don't have to hoof it. While I was out gathering, I lit up a couple of these shrines, so it's going to allow us to jump a little further to different areas and not have to run everywhere. The more we work the map, the more we go different quests and pick up these shrines, the easier traveling is going to be. Yeah, it was rough for them, General, but they had a new coach come in recently, so they've had a little bit of instability. And there's some new teams, like Newcastle, which is your boys' team, up at the top of the table, which is actually pretty cool. Having some different teams challenge the top four in the standings. Some benefits to that. All right, Yonas is giving us some fisherman's boots. He's saying all the soul wardens are gone. We're going to have to go search for more soul warden clues. Just north of here. And now we're getting in the midst of this side quest stuff. So this is going to be more lucrative leveling here very soon. We had to go back to Monarch's Bluff for that first piece of this, and now we're going to be in Everfall for a bit. All right, man. Hey, boy, thank you. Thanks for lurking. Thanks for coming by and saying hello. Hope you have a great day, my friend. Mellow Monday night for you, General. This game's having a huge resurgence. There was over 100,000, 120,000 or something like that concurrent players earlier today again. Shroud was streaming this, who is obviously a well-known first-person shooter streamer. Hey, I want that wolf. You can skin him. I just want credit for killing him. And Shroud had played this game at launch but hadn't been on for quite a while. So he had a huge number of people following him streaming this earlier today. So it's getting a lot of exposure. Uh-oh, there's our voice again. So we're pursuing this path to counter the effects this voice is having on us, trying to get us to join the corrupted, the evil force that's resurging on the island. Whoops, another chest here. Yeah, a lot of big streamers are back, General. Asmongold, I don't play World of Warcraft, the other World of game, but he's been a big World of Warcraft streamer among other titles. So they've got a streamer event going on right now, like a streamer competition, kind of in support of the relaunch of this game. Launch of the new area. So, but Shroud gains a lot of attention, and it was very polarizing. A lot of people are saying, oh, why are you playing a dead game? And it did really suffer. Concurrents were down to like 20,000, so that it's up to 125 on a Monday weekday is pretty huge. But it's back on the radar. He was playing the Greatsword today. And he plays a lot of musket because he's an insane first-person shooter player, sniper. Okay, use our Calamity counter skill. It basically charges up when they hit our shield and then blows it back on them. These regents are kind of beefy. Use our dodge and our stuns on him. Let's go just farm some weapon XP. Let's pull these guys together. Do some multitasking here. Volume XP farming. Weird heard it was a good game at launch. It had a really big launch, like 1 million copies sold and a ton of people playing. But there was a bunch of bugs. There was some exploits, like people duping gold and some items that were valuable. So a lot of people felt the economy was undermined. They would patch bugs, and when they did their patches, more bugs would come in with the patches. And then because it was Amazon, you know, a big company, even though AGS is not the main Amazon, the gaming studios is a much smaller division, people were, you know, just capping on the devs and really crapping on the game for basically 3 straight months as it nosedived in player population numbers. So over last winter, it really went into doldrums and took basically until the spring and summer to start showing some signs of more stability and improvement, and then introduction of some new content. And the music trade skill we were showing off earlier, which we'll be revisiting frequently to get buffs from, has really helped bring the game back. Then the other element of the relaunch has been these Fresh Start servers. So we had a bunch of people who said they'd never come back and play on the servers that they felt had been undermined economically. And these servers, no one can transfer in. It's all brand new players, brand new economy that's kind of untainted in the disbelievers' eyes. So a lot of people have come in and played in this Fresh Start environment. That's what Shroud was doing today. He's actually, I think, on this server. He's only going to play for a couple hours, and I noticed it was the entire afternoon into the evening. Him and his crew. I think he has 12 million followers on Twitch, just a few. Yeah, it's part of Amazon's umbrella. I know they had an MMO that was supposed to come out before this that actually kind of unlaunched. It never really made it into full release. I think they killed it after like a beta or an alpha. All right, we've completed this main story quest here. Let's hop up here to this den where we've got a side quest available. And we know killing wolves is one of our Townboard missions. So we can work on that at the same time for going to a wolf area, another Townboard mission for rabbits. So let's kill whatever rabbits we can see. They're showing up on our compass up above on our tracker. Problem is sometimes they're a long ways away. They can be difficult to spot. They will have a quest marker over the top of them. All right. I think these wolves will count for our main story quest and this Townboard quest. I'm gonna have to skin them. Search of quality furs. Actually, not all of them yield it. I think they have to drop it in a bag. So Skewer is a hunting skill that's fantastic. It's great in combat. It's that leaping strike. It's great for going after animals and critters that will run away from you when you're trying to farm them, basically. The predators will attack you whenever you hit them or aggro them, but the rabbits, the turkeys, the deer or the elk, the buffalo, they all kind of run away when you start attacking them. So spear is great for a lunging, a strike. It's basically sneak attacks. Okay, that's an exquisite fur. We got one. There's another. Ah! The boulder. Okay. Another rabbit. There's Skewer. Great hunting skill. And great lead-in skill when attacking enemies. Most of these animals will respawn pretty quickly. someone just leaves pelts lying on the ground, you can freely skin those. You're just not going to get credit for a kill. So why not? I mean, it's going to boost our skinning. It's going to give us some resources. I think there's this little quest encounter in here. We already did it, actually. It was part of the Syndicate quest chain that we did in the last stream. We don't need to do it again. Okay. What else is close? Meadow Lake Fishery is up above. Again, I got all these fast travels highlighted just doing a little bit of farming, I think, yesterday. So let's go ahead and head up because we can grab this guy and knock it out. Then we can hit this teleport and come back down here and get this. Actually, there's one here too. So let's do that. Let's head back north. Oop, wrong way. Wrong way, Clyde. What games do you normally watch streaming-wise, General? I've watched a little bit of World of Warships lately. Quite a bit of this game. There's the fast travel point, so we know we need to get onto the other side of that. What level is this portal? These are corruption portals, so these are corruption events out in the open world. I'm tempted. Let's see what we can do in here. If we can do this without dying. Oh, we don't have a Azov staff. Forget it. We need a staff that we're going to get on this quest line to basically what's called closing a corrupted portal. If you have an Azov staff, when you go into that event area, you'll start to fight against waves of enemies. And you're on essentially poison ground, so you lose health just standing in there after a period of exposure that you can mitigate with some potions or specific types of armor. Hello, rabbit. Okay, there's our quest marker. Meadow Lake Fishery, this is where we need to be. Grab some water moats. Can't get the rock-based water moat because we don't mine that level yet. Search chests. So this just another little patch of corruption. These are corrupted enemies. These are the same type of creatures that will come out of those corrupted portals we just ran by. So now we need to open 8 of these chests. Again, we can't mine that yet. We need mining skill 50. Actually, let's group these guys. Bigger chunk of weapon experience by grouping them up. Skyward Slash puts a rend on the enemy. That's a symbol up above their nameplate. When you see that upward slash hit an enemy, that'll put 2 stacks of rend where they basically absorb more damage. So a guy like that has some armor will be a lot easier to kill after we hit him with that skyward slash. Pain in the butt when you're trying to open chests and their range guys are hitting you. Makes you start over again. Okay. Work our way around to the other side. Scout breastplate. I like that piece of armor. It's hard to find a good one with good stats, though. Seems to be a more rare piece. Okay. Awesome. If you use both weapons, you're going to get weapon expertise on both when that enemy goes down. Kind of based on the ratio of how much damage you do with each weapon. So if you're starting out with a new weapon that you want to level, you can always use a strong weapon, which has a higher base point level and delivers more damage. And then get in a couple hits with your weaker weapon. And the weaker weapon will get some points along with your stronger weapon. Try to dodge when we can. Okay. 6 out of 8. Another lore page. You can just hit T and read it without actually stopping and reading and getting attacked by these guys. The reason a lot of players skip the lore in this game is because you try to read those pages and then you get attacked while you're trying to read. Let's group these guys up. This calamity counter is pretty good for grouped enemies. Spear is great at single target, rapid damage. Great sword, a little better for crowd control. Just the wide swath of the swings. Okay, this little house up above count. If we look at our map and zoom in. Oh, got a friend. Couple friends. Again, if you zoom all the way in on your map, it'll kind of give you the boundaries of the quest area. So all this dotted line area is part of number 5, essentially. Ooh, some good carrots. Leave the rest for her. Single target damage. Use our 3 spear abilities. Guy's basically done. 2 more chests. Also lead with a heavy attack. Just hold down your mouse button. Gives you more reach. Okay, there we go. We wound up clearing most of this area. If you're looking for chests, wells count as a chest. They mark them now, they didn't used to. So you'd be doubling back, looking all over for the last chest, and it wasn't a chest you were supposed to open, it was a well. Okay. Look up in the sky. We'll see the beam coming from that spirit shrine where we can fast travel. Our territory buff. Oh, hey, rabbit. Every action we do gives us XP. Essentially. Gathering, crafting, combat, reading lore pages, unlocking spirit shrines. It's kind of one cool thing about New World is just about every action gets you something. Alright, Yonas we can go back and talk to, but again, we're going to try to pick up some of these quests on this side. So let's actually hop over here. This character is Rob Roy Kent, pirate footballer. My main's a level 600 character, and then I have a secondary character on an East Coast server. Play with some friends on East. That character is about 53. It's not a Fresh Start server. So what quest is here? Oh, that's inside. All right, well, we don't need to visit that particular. That's an area where we can turn in our quest, but we can turn that in the city as well. Which faction rep do we do that at in here, I wonder? Yeah, let's just use the fast travel. Go on to our next quest. We don't need to be on the fast travel when we're in an area. All right, we'll just run south out of here. This is where we want to travel to anyhow. We'll just hang a left and come down here to Riverwarren Grotto. Going to number 2 up on the compass. Uh-oh, we got a gator. Didn't even see him there. Futzing with the map. Gators are armored, so any of your stronger attacks with the spear are going to work pretty well. And the greatsword's been really doing a great job of dispatching gators. Okay, here's our next objective. Defeat 6 lost. This is a roadside quest we picked up for a brewer who makes mead. We need to recover his mead for him. We'll allocate a couple weapon points in a bit here. Where are the chests at? Okay. The chests were blue on the last quest because it was a faction mission. Now they're just going to be back to the standard yellow. Okay, we got some sheet music. And that opening skyward slash puts rend on the enemy. The spear also has some skills that as we level them up applies rend. There's a final chest. Provisions cache can be food items. Oh, we got a menu or a recipe out of there. Awesome. Recipes are for buffs to your attributes. Or to your trade skills. Okay. We'll probably go back into that cave or something for a later objective because it looks like we knocked that out. Thankfully, quest givers and where you turn stuff in is now pretty close to one another. You can see how Skewer works really well to gap close and sneak attack that first big attack, get some lead damage, cycle through your other abilities. Works on both PvE critters, AI, and human beings in PvP. Pretty much always have Spear equipped in Outpost Rush, along with either a secondary melee weapon or bow. I'm playing ranged. This was the gentleman who asked us to recover the mead, I believe, Jacob. Get a bow. Another side quest here that he's giving us. So we could do this, probably come back to him and then hit the fast travel. This one's not too far. Got territory upgrade. Let's do gathering speed. All right. Oops, where is this guy? I think that quest disappeared. Let's go to journal. Be under side stories. Oh, it's pinned. Oh, we're in the area. That's why the quest marker disappeared. Let's see if we can do this quicker. Let's we could round them up. There's not that many enemies together. Where's this quest area? Looks like we have to stay back up over this way. Yeah, there's a guy over here. He counts. She. All right. Sometimes you just have to kill the enemies. Sometimes you have to pick up something they drop. So this is pretty common. They'll drop a bag. So we actually need to go back this way, it looks like. We're here to our right. Anywhere within this dotted area. There's one in here. Get to interrupt the sleep of a lot of pirates in this game. Grab chests when we can. Okay, these guys count in this little fort over here. Oops, gotta grab the bags. Downed her with the heavy attack. One last enemy. Okay, oop. Get the bag. Brain's getting tired. Rapier does pretty good damage. So that guy was running. Okay, we're getting a lot of green quests completed. Let's see, we have our wolves. Townboard, we have 6 more rabbits to kill. We got our wolves. I don't know if we're going to run across any bears on this trip. Go back here and turn in this quest. Then we're going to head south, knock out that one other faction mission, and then probably head back to town, turn some stuff in. Often asked question, no swimming in New World. Yeah, rapier is really good. Boats, well, it's kind of the cheese weapon if you're like a mage or you want to basically just run like a mage, either fire staff or life staff with rapier. It's got the best escape qualities to it. It's getting nerfed. The mobility buff from it is getting nerfed a bit. It's really hard to catch someone in light armor who's rolling all over the place and escaping with rapier moves constantly. Alright, we're going to jump down and grab this last faction quest. We'll wait on this guy here. We could keep doing a bunch of side quests in this area. We're a third of the way through 27 just from doing this. Started 25. Oh, dang, our song expired. Let's buff up one more quick time with that. Select song. Okay, I'm gonna butcher this, but I've got to try it. Whoops. Wanted this song forever. Ah. It's got some runs. Not terrible. Probably got a great. Looking for that song for a long time. All right, hold down F5. We're out. That's recharged our Territorial Triumph buff. It's hard to listen to music while you're playing the music. Especially on the expert level. Can't mine that yet. We'll work on some mining and logging off stream so we can start collecting some more of these resources next time we do stream. Okay, let's jump down here. Down here is the Covenant headquarters. So there are a couple quests we can pick up there. You can do all the faction quests up to the point of actually joining the faction. We pretty much did that last night. Nutterest Graveyard is just to the north of the Covenant headquarters. Let's see what we need to do here. If we click on the map and we just highlight that objective by mousing over it, we can then pin it. Defeat the Disturbed Scholar. Yeah, that's this guy, I think. That's what everyone's hanging out waiting for. No, that's the Templar Invictus. Let's see, is it just these guys? No, it's the Ravenous Ghost. I always find it funny you can poke ghosts with a spear. Unlocked all the factions, ended up in Covenant just because you rarely saw any. Probably not a great strat, but you can always switch. Yeah, I think it's a 90-day cooldown on switching, and it's not a bad idea to join the kind of lesser controlling factions because people tend to switch over and then try to get more of that color on the map if there isn't any. A lot of PvPers are in the Covenant too. What'd you do server-wise, Boats? Did you do a new server or did you do one of the Fresh Start servers with the little sun icons next to them? Disturbed Scholar. It says it's in this area. $60-day cooldown. Okay, couldn't remember. It was 60 or 90. So Ravenous Ghosts. It says it's right here. A Fresh Start wasn't populated at first, but now it's busy. Yeah, a lot of the Fresh Start servers are still growing. There was a big influx on the launch day of Fresh Start. It's not this. That's part of the faction quest. Let's see if I can Google this. Defeat Disturbed Scholar. Level 23 boss. So this will be a timed respawn. Well, it wasn't a long trip to come over here because we fast traveled, but I can't remember if I've seen a second mob spawning here or not. This is the Invictus guy again. It's a mini version of the boss we'll see in the Depths expedition. Guy's cheesing the flamethrower. Popular fire staff ability. Alright, well. I'm gonna run around the back here just to see. It's none of those guys. Some of these quests are on a relatively long respawn timer. And this guy seems to be... Alright. It's getting close to my bedtime, so let's forget that one for now. Anything else we can pick up? Let's go close to town. Oh, we gotta turn in our Yonas quest here. I wonder if that boss is still there or not, or if he's been displaced by the new quest line. Okay. Yonas is gonna be here for a little while. But then he will be on the move again. So this is our main story quest progress. So we were basically reliving memories of Soul Wardens defending that tower that we were at a little while ago. Basically, we're jogging the memories of Yonas that he was a Soul Warden. But supposedly their days are done, so he just fishes now. Alright, so we're going to find out about the Angry Earth pretty soon. Which is really the indigenous faction of this island. Faction, population, race. That'll be in our next episode. It's going to send us up north here. To some of the mines in the northern part of Everfall. So between here and town, let's see how many rabbits we can catch. I always skin rabbits because rabbits have a chance of dropping something called succulent rabbit. So if you have skinning gear, we can get rid of some of this green gear. Skinning gear would be usually skinning gloves. And we do not currently have any. Skinning gloves will basically increase your chance of getting succulent rabbit through boosting your luck. Yeah, that is a good fishing hotspot by Yonas. And boats, as you progress in level in your fishing skill, you'll unlock more and more of the hotspots around the world. I think it's newworldfishingguide.com is amazing if you want to learn about fishing. Let's see if I can find that. Pretty sure. What is that? Yeah, it's newworldfishingguide.com, all spelled out, no spaces. It tells you where all the hotspots are, what kind of fish you find in each hotspot. It gives you tips like you want to boost your focus attribute when you're fishing. I do have a pair of fishing boots that I got from one of these quests. You want to wear any fishing gear you have. There's different baits that have higher chance of catching the bigger or legendary fish. And some of the legendary fish sell for a lot. Oh, yeah, the New World minimap, it's great. But when I decided to finally level fishing, it was my last trade skill. They have double XP events every now and then, so I kind of waited for double XP to level fishing. And that guide's really, really good. So that's a decent hotspot by Yonas, but the problem is there's always people around there doing their quests, so you can find other hotspots that are far more secluded. The summer event had hotspots for the normal fishing, and then it had these special Aeternum sturgeon hotspots, so there was like 3 times the number of normal hotspots in the game. And these special sturgeon you would catch, and by breaking them down into fillets or getting the lucky fish bones from them, you could collect some really cool armor patterns for crafting, and then like emotes and skins and that kind of stuff that were all free just from participating in the event. And that introduced the music trade skill this year as well, so I'm assuming that event will be back bigger and better next year, the Summer Medley Fair, because it was such a huge success. And it's part of the reason the game's rebounding in popularity right now. Yeah, the minimap we were talking about is newworldminimap.com, which is from Overwolf. You can run it on a second monitor. It will put a little small minimap in your game HUD, but it doesn't have resources on it. The one that runs in your second monitor shows you where all the nodes are for all the various resources, where bosses are, where lore pages are, chests. It's really, really useful. Okay. Sometimes you have to run forever to get to these damn rabbits. We're just following. Oh, no icon over that, so we must have got to our 10. Let's check. Okay, rabbits and wolves are done. Those were 2 Townboard projects. We should have a faction quest to turn in. We were able to knock out some side quests. Okay, we'll hit the town project board. So there's our rabbit quest and wolf quest. If you do a lot of fishing, you can do townboard quests. Fish fillets or firm fish fillets are the main things there. So you need 2 strong health potion and 3 strong mana potion. 20 common regeneration potion. Here's a quick way you can level up townboard quests. Really mainly for town rep. More so than anything else. Doesn't give you as much character XP anymore. But if we pin these... That's how people used to power level in the old days. They'd take these Townboard quests, then come over here to the naked guy at the trading post and just buy the potions that they needed. So you could basically just trade gold for leveling. Let's see. Let's get out and see what they were exactly. So we need strong mana, strong health, common regeneration. Strong mana. $0.10. Cheap, right? Strong health. Put in our search bar. $2 for those, more expensive. I think we only needed one. And common regeneration. Ooh, those are a little more expensive. It's alright, we'll spend a little bit of gold. Needed 20 of those. This is where people could spend a lot of money power leveling. Just buying materials and then coming over here to the board and turning them in. And Amazon Games figured out that wasn't really the intention of what the town boards were for. Turn all three of those in. And what that's going to do is increase our standing pretty quickly. Whoops, hit map. Basically bought ourselves some territory standing. Always going to pick storage when I can. Oh, we did hit a level. We didn't pick that up yet. Hit 2 levels. Sign all that. Weapon mastery, spear. We're going to keep working on this impaler side of the tree. Once we unlock 10 of the skills up here, we can take the bonus skill at the bottom. These enhance our abilities further, or these are secondary buffs. Let's do this one. Basically, when we land our vault kick, it gives us empower, which increases our damage for 20 seconds. If we vault kick into any target under 20% health, or 50% health, sorry. Great sword. We're going to work mainly on this side of the tree first until we unlock this. And gain haste. Let's just go ahead and round these out. It's going to make our crosscut stronger on our final strike. And looks like we've got one more side quest to turn in. It's Mr. Lee over here, the trapper. Oh, he's going to give us main story quest? Oh yeah, he gives us the next element of the main story quest too. Let's finish this off. He's sending us to one of his friends. Give further information on this quest. Alright, let's leave the main story quest there so we can pick up the rest and kind of set up what we're going to do in the next stream. We are going to talk to someone up in the northern part of Everfall up here. That's where it's going to take us next. Oh, and this being lit up, we do have one faction quest to turn in too. So let's find our faction rep. Again, highlight your map, zoom in, and he's down in this side. So we're gonna come down and around to the left. And through here, we can see the syndicate icon. You'll find your own factions icon. And we can turn in our Meadow Lake Fishery quest. Those give a good chunk of XP. You saw that. And gives us some rep. Starts to fill our rep bar here. And gives us some tokens to buy stuff in the faction shop. Which we're not going to do at this moment. While we're here, got a little bit of hemp to loom into linen. Where's the tanning station? Again, I'm going to do a lot of my craft gathering and refining off stream, you guys. Oh, it's back on the left. We did collect quite a bit of hide, right? The stations are so puny, they're easy to miss. It's just going to give us a pretty big bump in leather crafting. And we've unlocked rugged leather now. The next level in refinement. Up to level 58. This goes a lot faster than it used to. As we get into the higher tier areas, we'll kill stronger critters that drop what's called tough hide, and that will allow us to start making, thick hide, that will allow us to start making layered leather. Again, tracking progress on the bottom. Every time we refine, it gives us XP. All right. Really quick recap. First of all, just talking about leveling, we were able to now just run around and turn in basically 4 kinds of quests. We were able to turn in our main story quest, Townboard quests, side quests, and faction quests. So do as much of this stuff at the same time as you can, and you will really power up your leveling. And then from a musical instruments perspective, around level 17, when you're doing your faction initiation quests, you are going to unlock the musical instruments. It's Guitar Hero style mini game to build up your trade skill, and you can unlock the music buffs you see at the bottom. So there's 6 of them. We'll go back through those as we progress in our music skill. We showed you how to play instruments using F5, choosing song, difficulty, and a buff. We only played solo, but you can play songs in groups. It's really fun. We'll definitely do that in future streams. And the Azoth flute can only be played by itself. The other 4 instruments can be played in groups of up to 5 people, because some songs have multiple guitar or mandolin parts. So pretty damn fun. The music skill is a really cool social skill, and also just a fun way to level up your experience and get some worthwhile buffs at the same time. So hey Boats, if you're still around, hope you have a great night. Anyone else who's joined in, really appreciate it. On our next stream, we'll see what we're up to. We're just going to continue this leveling experience, and then maybe we'll start delving into a few of the other trade skills in a little more detail, or potentially even one of our first professions. I think we'll work on leveling something like engineering first. Make a little progress there, maybe furnishing, so we can make some trophies, get ready to purchase a home pretty soon. We've got to level up territory rep to a higher level to get the best house we can before we delve into that. But that's pretty much it for tonight. Really appreciate you joining, and look forward to seeing you again here on Aeternum Academy. I'm VannKraken. I am out. Have a great night.